the owner finance and creative financing structure from a capital gains and tax standpoint is incredibly powerful as well, because you only owe taxes on when the money hits your account. You don't owe taxes. So like if I bought a house for 100,000 and I sold it for 200,000, if I do it traditionally, I may owe capital gains on that entire difference, right? If I do it where I have $100,000 note that I own or finance to the buyer, I'm only going to owe taxes on the money that I received that year. So, I mean, in some structures, we're talking about the difference between like $50,000 of taxes to like $3,000 of taxes that year. It's an incredibly powerful way that I think every single investor that's accumulating a portfolio really needs to.
Welcome to the Real Estate Reserve podcast. I'm Jason Balin from Hard Money Bankers, and this is Ian Horowitz from Equity Warehouses. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I promise you are going to have a lot of fun along the way with us. If you are a regular follower, viewer, watcher, thanks again for all your support. We certainly appreciate it. As you guys know, we interview experts in their individual fields. We're not bringing on gurus or anything like that. Today, we're going to introduce to you Jim Manning. He's the founder of 3 Doors Homeways, Doorway Properties, Client First Lending, and Passive Wealth Fund. And he also has a pretty cool podcast that he will share called the Passive Wealth Show. So we will get going with Jim here in a second.
Yeah, no, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I wish we didn't have to do video for the podcast because I wouldn't have to sit in a dark room all the time. Like, I need sunlight, dude. I'm ready for summer to be here. But it's early 2024. Hopefully you guys are crushing it. Looking forward to see where everyone's going. Guys, if you get any value out of the show, please, like, the best compliment you give to us is actually just really sharing the show, passing on information that you might learn from here and sharing the knowledge with everyone else. That's how we got involved in real estate. And hopefully you can share to other people. So enough of us talking. Let's just bring Jim in and have him introduce himself. What's up, Jim?
Hey guys, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, well, it's good to know someone else is in nice cold weather like us. I think it was really cold. You're down in St. Louis. It's nice and flat down there. I'm sure you guys get crushed with the wind, and it stays nice and cold along with us like we're dealing with here. So
yeah, so I tried to get out of it. I just was in Florida, and it was windy, rainy, and 60 to where, like I couldn't even go outside. I was like, really?
Yeah.
And like my wife's like, how's the weather? Because it's like 5 degrees and it's just icy and sleety in St. Louis. And so, well, I've been in a conference room in a real estate thing the whole time. I haven't been able to enjoy it. So I feel your pain, guys. Absolutely. I hope summer comes quick. I hope that's right.
Yeah, well, golf season's not far away. So that's what we keep telling ourselves. We enjoy golfing, so it's almost here. It's almost that time of year. So we got to hurry up and get some deals done before the golf course is open. Jim, how'd you get involved? Just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in real estate.
Absolutely. So my first job out of college, I was working for a self-made billionaire. And when you're 22, just out of like binge drinking and the whole college scene, I can't think of a better experience than to see, okay, this is what an entrepreneur did, because he was a self-made billionaire, right? And so I got to drink $1,000 bottles of champagne that unfortunately I chugged and I didn't enjoy, So if I could give my 22-year-old self some advice, it'd be like, dude, just sip it, don't chug it, enjoy it a little bit. And the guy was dating this gorgeous girl that was more attractive, better looking than anyone I had even thought of dating at the time, right? Now I'm fortunate I outkicked my coverage today with who I'm married to, but anyways, we're here to talk about real estate. But anyway, so I started idolizing this guy, thinking like, oh my gosh, like this is what America is. America's awesome. I need to kind of do my own thing. And, but then he invited me to dinner, and I thought, oh man, maybe a job's coming here. And I was there because his daughters hated him. And I realized real quick that yes, America is one of the most amazing countries in the world. Yes, you have all sorts of upside, but at the same time, there's a big cost to it too. I went into entrepreneurship. I started studying, and I just landed on real estate because I wanted to create an opportunity for myself and for my family that allowed me to make a good amount of money, and at the same time provide the lifestyle that I wanted. So that's when I got in, and this was, gosh, I feel old now. So I got in 2008, 18 years ago. We've, as a team, we've done over 3,500 deals now, and yeah, you mentioned all the companies that I'm owner of, and I'm really the founder of 4 of the companies. I don't spend a whole lot of time in them anymore. I have a all-star team and business partner that handles all of those now as well. So
Well,
yeah, that's me.
It's crazy when you look back and you're like, wow, 18 years ago was a long time ago, but it also was like yesterday. It did, a lot of this did come together fairly quickly, and I was able to accomplish so much, and imagine what you can accomplish 18 years later. I think a lot of people have anxiety and they get nervous about, well, 18 years from now is so far from now, or 5 years or so far from now. And I think, an interesting twist on it is, okay, well, where were you 3 years ago, right? What level were you at 3 years ago? Because that's, 3 years from now isn't that far away, right? Where were you 3 years ago, and how much have you accomplished between now and then, or between that, then and before, or then and now, I should say. So imagine how much more you can accomplish with the resources that you have today. So I think that, I think that's hard to fathom for a lot of people. So
yeah, what a powerful insight. Yeah, absolutely. That's
when you were like at, that age and working with this billionaire, and in essence, like, he was your mentor, and you looked up to him. Like, did you want to create things exactly like him? I understand the whole issues he had with his kids and stuff like that. But did you think like that's just how businesses run, because that was the only way that, you're acclimated to it, and we're like, hey, I want to do things exactly like him? Or did you kind of know right away, like, I want to do things different?
I've been, my upbringing, I've just always been given the gift of thinking for myself. I've done personality assessments where I'm very independent, and I had some family stuff going on where I was able to get an example of what not to do, and I kind of always just chose the opposite path, and much of it has worked out for me, and so I saw that, and I was like, okay, and I like to say it now, like, measure your success by what you gave up to get it. And like I kind of knew that, like, at my core, and after that experience, I was like, okay, like, that was not worth it. My middle class family, my middle class parents are way happier than this guy. And we grew up comfortable. We grew up in an amazing childhood, and almost every by definition of a great childhood. I mean, obviously we didn't have a private jet. We weren't flying to our Palm Springs vacation home, right? But yeah, I mean, it did instill that in me. So I set out with the vision and the goal from day one to really to have both, to have family, I believe in God. It's important to me, have my relationship with God, have my family life, and then also achieve some great successes. Because here's the deal, guys. Like, whether you're a billionaire, whether you've started 5 companies like I have, like, we all put one pant leg up at a time, like, we all go to the bathroom and have to wipe our asses, I mean, it just is what it is. Right. So I was like, well, if that guy can do it, he's just a guy, why can't I? And the interesting thing with it is, like, we didn't really start taking off until we were doing a tremendous amount of activity in the middle of my career, but we weren't as focused as we are now. And we were doing a lot of things. We were doing a lot of deals, but we weren't, until we started narrowing the focus, we weren't really able to have our P&L be like, wow, this is an amazing thing. And I started out, I did one deal my first 18 months, guys. So, like, I didn't light the world on fire when I started or anything like that. There's maybe y'all listening in have had a way better start than I did to my career. And there's a lot of variety of reasons for that too. But, starting out as a 22-year-old in real estate after you did your first deal is there was a lot of growing up I had to do.
Even though I want to move on to other things, like I'm
Yeah.
still just really intrigued about, the 22-year self, Jim, 22-year-old self, Jim,
Yeah.
because like, I feel like most people wouldn't be as mature and would think the opposite. It's like, this is what I want to do, man. I need a private jet. I need this. I need that. Like, you're not even thinking about as much with you. Like, you don't think maybe as much related to the family on that side. You're like, hey, everything else will work itself out if I have the money. Like, you're looking to be like, hey, I don't want to make as much money as this guy, and I don't want all the materialistic things that this guy has. And again, I think everyone, when they're 35 plus, agree with you, but 22-year-olds maybe not. So I think there was a huge maturity level right from the beginning.
I mean, yeah, in hindsight, yes, and it was probably the only thing I was mature about. To start the business, I moved back home with my parents, and it was all beer money, going out money, and
No doubt.
And investment money. I really didn't spend money on anything else.
Yeah, but some of that is like the core values of like your upbringing. You say you have a relationship with God. I'm more of a universe person, but like whatever it is, like I think a lot of it comes down to no matter where you're at in your age group, and it's like Jason said, I think more obvious the older you get is as long as you don't violate your core values, you can do whatever you want. You can be as successful as you want. But that guy, even though he has $1 billion, is violating his core values because he's miserable, because he didn't have the relationships with his kids, or he thought he did, but really they're miserable, right? Versus saying, man, my core values are to have a really good family relationship. I don't need that much money. Or my core values are to have a jet, do as many drugs as possible, and have as many women as possible. Then go do that, right? Like whatever your core values are, you just need to be in line in your business with that. And I think that's something, I don't know if you've seen it, but I think we're all kind of saying the same thing, is that you knew what you wanted early on, and to have that, like Jason said, you're a better man than me to have that maturity through that situation.
It was a gift. I mean, and the whole like self-made, like, come on, I'm not self-made. I mean, I had a great mentor, Coach Steve, my high school baseball coach, and he made it he made it about more than just winning a ball game. He was like, hey, this is how you learn life, guys. You can win, you can lose, you can strike out. And he just planted seed after seed after seed that of really good quality thinking and values, and my parents as well. And I'm very fortunate, very blessed to be here. There's no question about it. Yeah.
So let's talk about some of your real estate companies. Like, how did you know, in an early on, where to start? Obviously you had a mentor that helped, but you created multiple multi-level companies. Like, what was the first one? Like, what was the first, and they're all kind of in the real estate space. Like, what was the first one that you created, and how did you kind of start that?
So I got my real estate license to run comparables because I guess I was paranoid. I didn't trust a realtor to do it for me. Like, I really wanted to be able to have all the data. Another strange thing about how a 22-year-old thinks, but so we started out doing short sales because back in 2008, short sales really was the marketplace. And back then you could actually buy them and flip them. You could, whether it's a wholesale or like an investing. And, there's differences now in what you can do because some of the rules have changed, but that was the marketplace. And we started out doing really well. But the model that we did was we were getting 100% private money, and then we were getting out of our own pocket, we were funding all our repair money. So it might take 4 or 5 wholesale deals to then be able to fund our next flip. Right. And so we were doing deals, and a couple of years in, we made a couple bad investment decisions in a row. And we were in a situation that some of the listeners probably can feel the pain on this, but we owned 3 houses that were all buy mistakes. And we had to sell 2 of the houses before the third because of the amount of cash we had in it. And the third property, we're going to lose a tremendous amount of money. So we had to take the cash from the first 2 and then use that because like we didn't have the money in our bank accounts anymore because we had invested literally way too high of a percentage into of our cash, our liquidity into these deals. And so and that was like that was when I actually had my first great struggle in my life. I was visiting my grandma and I ended up hitting my head. She was in the hospital. I hit my head, had a massive concussion. At the time, we thought I had a couple seizures, but it turns out I'm just a wimp and I pass out, I guess. So I like remember thinking, oh, there's internal bleeding. My grandma's going to die. And then I wake up with just nurses and doctors all over me, just like all freaked out. Talk about a terrifying feeling, like trying to figure out what the heck had happened there. But I'm 6'2", and when you fall and hit your head like that on concrete, that's not a good thing. And so I had these 3 deals that were going on, and then so I had these 3 deals that were going on, and then I was in the hospital. It was a North County hospital, which is not the best in my area, and that's where my grandparents grew up in, and I remember just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I have 3 properties that I don't know if they're going to even sell. They're telling me I can't drive for 6 months. Like, what the heck am I going to do to get through this? My girlfriend, now wife at the time, was sitting next to me. And I remember just looking at her like, and I want to marry this girl. That dawned on me, like, I want to marry her. So it was like such a joyful moment. Like, okay, I want to marry her, but then I don't have the money. I can't even afford to pay for a ring. So it was like a tremendously beautiful and terrible moment at the same time. And so, and at the time I didn't know like if I was sick or not. I had to wait 48 hours before the doctor would let me know if I had a traumatic head injury to where I'm going to die or if it was just a one-time thing. So I remember praying to God at the point. I was like, hey, I want to marry her. If I'm healthy, I'll do everything I can to do that. Please help me. If I'm sick, help me with that too, and then sure enough, the test came back good. But I now had to reinvent myself because I didn't have money to invest. I did have that real estate license though, that I got to run comps. So we pivoted from investing in short sale deals that we did 50 short sale listings to like help us offset the mistakes that we did. And so unfortunately it wasn't a master plan. It was like out of necessity and need and mistakes that we decided to open up our brokerage and run some agents and do that whole thing. So then we started operating 2 businesses. That was the dawn of our second business. So, all
right. So you had a short sale business what's the real estate broker's business? Homeaways?
That one actually we don't do anymore.
Got it.
Yeah. So we've closed that one down. It was a business that we would spend half our time on, and we'd always make 10 to 20% of our revenue on.
Yep.
And I mean, the lesson that we really learned at that point was like it's really good to scale and grow deals, but having another source of income is a conservative way to do it. So it did us well for over a decade. We made a lot of money. We built up the agent business to I think it was a top 20 team in 2 states, in Missouri and Illinois. We were doing hundreds of deals a year. And what was happening though with it and why we decided to close it down was agents are a great way that we buy and hold on to properties, and we were in competition because we were also going after the listings. So we decided, well, no, this doesn't make any sense. Let's partner with everybody rather than be competition with everybody, because our main driver is buying and holding onto deals for our fund, and specifically the lease purchase deals that we do.
Yeah, well, yeah. And here's the thing, like, you got out of the transactional world and into the asset world. And I think a lot of the smart real estate agents understand that as well. This is just a transaction. Like, I'm trading time for money. And a lot of times it's good money, especially if you're in a market that have high commissions, or high purchase prices or sales prices. But in essence, owning the assets is where the real magic happens and the real wealth becomes. So, I get it. Hey, I make a lot of money.
And we're at a point where
all my time.
Yeah.
Well, so
absolutely.
So, let's talk about taking advantage of higher interest rates when you sell your house. I'm curious to know your take on that.
Taking advantage of it. Yeah. So as far as like creative financing deal structures,
Yeah.
or like what you
Absolutely.
can do. Yeah, I mean, we love creative financing deals. It's such a win-win for people. Um, so those of you that are listening that say creative financing, what are you talking about? Like you can use your lower interest rate as an asset. So I can sell my property and say, hey, I have a 3% interest rate. I've already paid off 5 years of interest. Why don't you give me a couple $100 and you can just take over the note, subject to the existing financing, and I can sell and move on and make passive income on it. Like we did this structure with someone that's made over $40,000 after she sold the property, just several months later. But a lot of people don't think that way, and a lot of realtors miss the boat on that too, because the 1970s, 1980s, when interest rates went up a tremendous amount, they had to get creative, and that's how they did those deals. Well, I was in diapers in the 1980s, and I'm one of the most experienced real estate guys in my area, right? So all those professionals, a lot of your traditional realtors don't even realize that it's a thing or it exists. Just the same way, like short sales. Like if you talk about short sales with people that haven't been in since 2008, that they've only been in the last 5 years or so, they don't really know what that is either. They may have heard of it, but they certainly don't know how to do a short sale deal, right?
They went by the wayside like 16, 17. It's like, no more short. Like they just like disappeared overnight. But I guess there's still deals getting done like that. And I mean, we see it in the commercial space a lot. Like more B2B, you see a lot more owner financing or creative financing type deals, but then there's always the damn broker in the way. They want to know how they're getting paid. Like that's the one thing that I think people need to figure out how to overcome in any situation. If you don't have a savvy seller, how's the broker gets paid? And I think that's where on market versus off market deals really start to change what you're doing. But yeah, I agree. I mean, when we did single family, I could probably count on my hand how many owner finance deals we did, just because, I don't know, just a lot of people weren't into it. And I think now with interest rates being so high, people are more realistic to it. Like now when I talk to people, I'm like, yeah, we do, 8, 9, 10%, depending on what type of deal you're getting in preferred or, debt, interest rates. And they're like, oh, okay, no problem. But when because interest rates in the banks are 5.5%, but when they were 0.25%, they're like, no way you can afford 8%. Yep, yes, we can, So it's interesting how people's perspective change over time and how everything's cyclical and comes back around.
So the fascinating thing, like from my perspective and my evolution as an investor, I was so focused for my first 10 years of my investment career through 2018 or so on purchase price. Okay, what are the repairs? What's the purchase price got to be? And when you really start getting nuanced and advanced in the creative financing structure, what you realize is that price is just one of the terms. I can literally pay a homeowner an extra $30,000 and get a better deal if I'm going to hold on to the property and I understand what the cost of money really is, and I can structure it in a creative way. And I would have never, the first 10 years of my career, I would not have understood that. I would have said, like, are you crazy? Like, how could you pay 30 grand more and feel better about a property? Well, you have to know how to assess and analyze all the terms, guys. So I don't know if you guys studied like that. Do you guys do any creative finance deals yourself?
Yeah, I mean, we did. I did a 76 unit apartment building. She owner financed. Basically, it was a $5 million purchase price. Owner financed 90% of it. And for us to win the deal, we had to carry it out to a 40-year term so she could get the money that she wanted from a monthly return, but we could pay more than anybody else. So like you talking about pulling the levers, price is just one of the levers. Like you could pay anything you want, just extend that loan out over 100 years. Who cares, right? Like, and I think that's where meeting sellers' needs, not even expectations, is really just needs. Like she kept telling us, hey, my mom needs $20,000 a month to survive, and we don't have to put her in a nursing home, and I want her to be taken care of at home. So Dan and I just said, well, how do we get to $20,000 a month and pay her price?
Yeah.
Or pay the most and get her $20,000 a month without killing our cash flow. And that's
right.
really what we started to do.
And let's add a little bit of a layer to this, guys, before, on this is so like when I get ready to sell my properties when I'm like 70 or 80, like I already have millions of dollars, it's going to be a lot more, right? The owner finance and creative financing structure from a capital gains and tax standpoint is incredibly powerful as well, because you only owe taxes on when the money hits your account. You don't owe taxes. So like if I bought a house for 100,000 and I sold it for 200,000, if I do it traditionally, I may owe capital gains on that entire difference, right? If I do it where I have $100,000 note that I own or finance to the buyer, I'm only going to owe taxes on the money that I received that year. So, I mean, in some structures, we're talking about the difference between like $50,000 of taxes to like $3,000 of taxes that year. It's an incredibly powerful way that I think every single investor that's accumulating a portfolio really needs to know about it. And they need to be thinking like this is a viable exit strategy for me. Like I own 50 properties. I'm in my 60s. My kids don't want them. Well, what can I do? Well, man, goodness, an owner finance deal with the right buyer is a massive win-win for everybody.
Yep. That's what happened on the 76 unit apartment building. She said, when we got the phone call, it was, hey, this lady wants to sell and she will only owner finance it. And she will keep a note at 90%. Me and my business partner, like, there's no way. My business partner thought the phone call was fake. And I said, well, I'm taking the meeting. But she knew tax implication, what she wanted to do. She was waiting. She was really waiting for her mom to pass because she was that old, kind of.
Yeah.
To then allowed to go to the estate to then forego the inheritance tax, get stepped up basis and everything else because they've owned the assets since 1965, right? So she knew her tax implications and she was smart with money. Unfortunately, I'd be interested in your thought on this, is like a lot of people do end up buying real estate or they keep their first home and turn it into a rental, but they don't understand the tax or the money part and really just how to manage finances. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. Like, how have you overcome going from like one house to hundreds of houses and the hundreds of deals that you're doing? Like how did you learn all the money side of things and keep that rolling?
Oh man, how much time you got?
Yeah, you got
we might need a second episode. What a powerful and intelligent question that is, guys. Well, the first problem is a lot of people don't think about it, right? So to be aware that it is a thing, so how did we do it? I guess let's go back on the flips first, because we were doing 3 flips at a time. I explained earlier that it was, and we were self-funding. We had private money on the purchase, but then we were self-funding the repairs. The second we changed the structure to 100% private money, repairs and finance and purchase price, what we didn't have is a capital problem anymore, or what we could afford problem anymore. So we were restricted with the amount of deals we could do. It became we just need to raise more money problem. How much money can we raise? Because if we have unlimited money from private individuals, we can do unlimited deals. So that structure really helped us when we were growing and scaling the flipping business, and we got it up to about 120 deals back in 2016 that we were flipping at the same time. And our income stream was from the flips. But what was nice about it was then we were reinvesting and taking the income stream and not just like buying a Porsche or anything like that. We were then buying assets and properties from the proceeds and building our portfolio up. So if you have an income stream that really helps you build your portfolio faster, yes, there's ways to burr it. A lot of people talk about that. The problem with burring is if you don't have an income stream figured out, you're just like one bad thing on a property happening from like losing all 50 properties or whatever you've built. So for us, it was being a real estate investor and flipping houses and also having agents bringing us income. There might be a doctor, your income streams being a doctor, right? Or M&A guy or whatever, right? Like, so the first step is really that income stream. And then I think the mistake that a lot of people make is uh, then they think, okay, well, I like the idea of real estate investing. I'm a doctor. I watch HGTV. I love the idea of doing flips. Well, all a flip is a job and an income. You already have one of those. Being a true real estate investor is buying and holding on to an asset and letting that asset making you money over time. So a lot of people that get into flips, quite frankly, shouldn't. And then there's also active ways to invest and passive ways to invest, where you can invest into a real estate fund and let someone else do all the work for you, for example, right? Or invest into a hard money lending company. You all may know of a really good one right here. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that guy. So, but yeah, I mean, and then we get trapped in like, oh, I got to learn all this stuff. I need all of this knowledge. Well, oftentimes it's just, who do you know? And do you know a person that has the team set up, or they already know how to do all of this? Well, if you have the financial means, just invest into a team to do all the work for you. And you can be a real estate investor. You can get all the same benefits of investing in real estate, and you can make money very quickly. So
yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. What's your day look like running 5 companies? Well, I know you have 5 companies, and I think you mentioned you don't actually run them all. I mean, the ones you don't run, have you kind of built up yourself and then put a strategic operator in place to run them on your behalf? So it's kind of like a 2-part question.
Yeah, I mean, so the way we've done it is, I mean, if there is a cheat code, it would be this. My business partner, so I do have, we have a owner that's running each of our main entities. So 3 Doors, my business partner, is the CEO of that. And then Jason's one of my other business partners. He runs Homeways. And so we have a business partner acting as the CEO. And then our COO is talented and gifted enough that he actually acts as the COO for all of the entities. But we were able to build a business up to a point where we in essence hired a mentor. Like, this guy is 15 years more work experience than I have, and he teaches me stuff every day, and he pushes us to grow and be better. So it's been a really fortunate thing. And I think back, like, man, I started this in a 1-bedroom, 600 square foot apartment. And now we have a COO that's consulted with over 300 companies, yada, yada, yada. It's like, it's hard for me to believe, but by getting that leadership team in place, and then we have directors in each organization as well, that are really actively managing the salespeople and the ops people. It's really, it's made me really 3 layers removed from the active day-to-day involvement. We'll meet in an ownership meeting on Thursdays. And so as problems trickle up into the organization, I do have my eyes on the companies, but it's not an active involvement anymore. And it's been strange for me. I've really had to learn how to do things differently and in a different manner, because I used to have my hands in everything. I've really had to let go and trust that the team's going to do it. But yeah, so that's our structure. We have directors that are actively managing the ops team and the salespeople, business owners acting as a CEO, and then we have a COO that's helping make sure everything's working and functioning properly.
And are you guys bullish about kind of where the markets are, and related to, hey, I think there's a lot of opportunity for growth, and it's a buying time right now? Or are you kind of more concerned of like, hey, let's just keep everything steady and see where this goes?
So this is a great question, and I want to preface it with, like, it's a little bit more complicated than like blanket statements. Like, if you read something in the headlines, it's like, well, what market are you in and what's your strategy? Okay. So if I can speak for us personally. Okay. So we're in St. Louis. It's a Midwestern city. It doesn't go as up or as down as other cities do. Okay. I'm talking to one of my builder friends that has 40 years of construction experience. He says, Jim, I have the demand for 1,000 employees, and I only have 500 people on my team. I cannot find anyone to do the work. Okay. So we have a labor shortage. Okay. And then as far as the housing goes, NAR did a study that the last decade we needed 5 million additional homes that needed to be built. And then Harvard did a study. A lot of people haven't geeked out as much as I have on this, but Harvard did a study on the millennials and the Gen Zs. Those are our biggest two demographics, and we're in our peak home buying years. So Harvard believes through 2038 that we need Harvard believes through 2038 that we need another 21 million houses built. Okay, so we're already 5 million houses behind, and Harvard believes we need another 21 million houses. Well, housing, you only build about 1.4 million houses in a year on a national level. So for us, we're insanely bullish. Like we're seeing this as an amazing buy and hold time. Okay. But for our strategy, it's single family homes. We're not talking about commercial office. That's a different beast. And our exit strategy is very long too. So even if I'm wrong, it really kind of doesn't matter because we're going to hold on to the properties for a while. So, like it's, the exit strategy is just super important when you look at these and how long you're going to hold on to it, because it de-risks it dramatically when you hold on to them for a while.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I see it as you're following your core values of what you want to do, and that you're going to make what you're doing follow the market, and you have multiple entrance and exit points all the way through, which I think is really smart because we all look at it the same way. And I think you're spot on. I think, well, you're down in it's just interesting because we're on the East Coast, right? And we're major metro, and it's different sometimes when you look at the South. I mean, you're not technically the South, you're the Midwest, right? But everybody up here is flocking that way. Your demands are completely different than the demands we have up here per se. So it's just always interesting to talk to people all throughout the country, and the information's been really good. What's one book or podcast that you enjoy that you think everyone should either listen to or should know about?
The one I'm reading here recently is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He just posted a book called Be Useful. And I get it that he can be divisive. He can drive some people crazy. What I like about it is I don't know of anyone that's mastered 3 different industries. Like he was the governor, he can't be president. He's not legally allowed to be. So governor was his presidency, right? So the pinnacle of that. He was the top paying actor for a number of years. And then he was number 1 in the world at bodybuilding. So so anytime I can kind of just listen to how a guy thinks that's achieved that, I think is incredibly powerful. And there's a lot of neat little nuggets in there on how he sees the world and some of the principles that he's used to be able to master multiple industries.
Does he narrate it?
He narrates it as well. Yeah. So the accent, just get along. I don't know if I finished it yet, but I think I have about a half hour left. But
nice. Hey, where's the best place everyone can find you, Jim? If they want to get in contact with you, track you down on the internet, learn more about what you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you just remember my name, jimmanning.com, you can just go to jimmanning.com. It will forward you to the Passive Wealth Show. I have a lot of free gifts available for you guys. I have we talked about passive income and how we help somebody make $40,000 in passive income. I actually have a course about generating passive income. In 2022, we generated over $5 million using 3 strategies. So in the course, what I did is I said, well, it'd be great for people to be able to just be aware of them. And so that's, if you go to the website, you can get access to that. I have a white paper. I spend a tremendous amount of time assessing and analyzing where the real estate market's at. I have that available for free as well. So, and then we have a real estate fund too, guys. If you have any sort of interest in that, you can kind of get access to that by just going to jimmanning.com as well. And that's for people that want to invest, have the capital to invest and don't want to do any of the work. So. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate you coming on. Lots of good information. I hope people come and track you down and get it. Guys, it was an awesome show, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Reserve podcast. Do us a favor and like, comment, and share our broadcast. It helps the algorithm and helps us spread the word too. Till next time, thank you for tuning in.